The security situation in the country is another one that we have to focus on this morning. Joining us to look at that is retired Captain Umar Aliyu. He's a security expert. Good morning and thanks for joining us.
Good morning.
I can see some form of excitement in the soldiers in the military with the renewed success. How does that make you feel?
It's encouraging. Our army is rebounding. And I think it's largely because there's been some kind of new blood injected into the system.
Before we talk about the but, tell us more about what you think that you have always talked about that you're seeing now in the system.
I'm seeing what I can call a participative kind of approach to leading troops, which should be the case. I am seeing things being done differently. Let's underscore that with probably the change fever in the air. I am seeing commanders, troop commanders, who actually bond with their men by not running their battle by proxy. They take time to go there. They take time to feel the ground. They take time to occupy their battle space. And that itself has been driven by the relocation of the command center to Maiduguri. That affords the troop commander across board from the chief down an opportunity to actually occupy his battle space, maintain his presence there.
I do remember you've talked about this moving the command center from way back.
Yes, like I spoke about it like 2012.
Yes.
And when you do that, you begin to actually see the kind of response you want to see down the line to the last foot soldier. And the reason is simple. It's psychological. It's human. It happens every day, even in our families. If you showed up in your son's school for his sports competition and he was running, something is going to change about the way he'll run that day, isn't it? That's it. So we're not saying that the chief will perpetually sit there. But then when you are actually there, more often than not, then you are going to begin to see, feel, and hear firsthand.
Beyond the relocation of the command center and the presence of the leadership on ground, do you see a change in tactics?
Yes. I have been able to observe the approach, let me say post-Buratai appointment now. And the approach is, it's gradual, slow but sure. I see them taking back inch by inch those grounds we have lost. Lately, they've taken Gamborongala. Sambisa is also being taken back in. And other than just take it, you take it and even have our flags hoisted. That makes a statement. I once said, each ground we lose emboldens the insurgents and demoralizes our own boys. Now each ground we gain and stamp our mark of approval or presence, as in raised our flag in place of that black flag, it also does something to the insurgents. It disemboldens them and also embolden our boys to do even more. That's part of what has changed. We celebrate our successes. We are consistent about it, even though it's been slow. But then if you do post-General Buratai appointment, you discover that in like 63 days, so much has been done. And if we can exponentiate 63 days and compare it to like 3 years, if every 63 days we can do this much, then by December, the sun should have set.
But
insurgents.
when you talked about the strategy of the military changing,
yes.
But it appears the insurgents also changed their tactics.
Definitely.
As well, and they began to do more suicide bombing.
Yes, that's definitely.
Are we prepared for that? If we change our tactics in reclaiming back territory lost, what about the other side?
The suicide bombing aspect should actually be complemented by 3 key parastatals. The military cannot actually fit in as snugly into this issue of suicide bombings as it does into combat engagements in the Northeast. The SSS or the DSS, the civil defense and the police have key roles to play in driving the successes of eliminating suicide bombing attacks. Because suicide bombing itself exploits the gaps in our policing strategies. If you want to bring the military into having to tackle suicide bombings, they are not going to give you the kind of effect and results you require.
See footage of the men celebrating.
Exactly. It calls for celebration because it's not every day you get to spend the night with a chief on the battlefield. Okay.
And the chief was in this bonfire himself.
He's been there. They eat everything together. They feel the dust together. They even fight together. He's been through one ambush lately. That's it. Now look at the mood there. If the chief says, let's move all the sand in Maiduguri to Lagos, you will find all the shovels and buckets to do that job. That's how it should be.